Good morning, friends. Hey, I'm Holly Wade with Holly Wade Wellness. Thanks so much for joining. This week, we're talking all about gut health, and I'm going to double check this because sometimes it takes it a minute. There we go. Good morning, everyone. Hey, I'm Holly Wade with Holly Wade Wellness. Thanks so much for joining this morning, and thanks for being patient. Technical issues this morning. It happens. So this week, we are talking all about gut health. In my 20 some years of living with Crohn's and really studying how my body worked and what I needed to do to help it, I learned a lot of things about health in general. But the big thing that I learned is that the gut is the center of health. And if you start to heal your gut, so many other things are tied to it. Now, if you think about it, everything that goes in or on our bodies eventually has to go through the gut. So it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? So this week, that's exactly what we're going to talk about. Now, there are some things maybe you haven't thought about in terms of gut health or how it's tied to gut health. Like, did you know that your mood ties to your gut health? Your serotonin and dopamine levels are in your gut also. Did you know most of your immune system is in your gut? Did you know that the aches and pains that you feel in your muscles and joints, like your fibromyalgia or your joint pain, can be tied to leaky gut? Did you know that your gut and your brain are directly connected by your vagus nerve? And those two things communicate just like a highway going back and forth. Now, we're going to talk about that more on Wednesday, or no, on Thursday. One of these days this week. I'm thrown off since today's Tuesday. But we're going to talk about that. The point being, you don't have to have a gut disease for your gut to be saying, hey, I need some attention. So this week, you're going to get tips in Health Warriors with Autoimmunes on how to clean up your kitchen so that you're eating and preparing your food well to support your gut, on how to help your body digest, on how to calm your system down, because when we're anxious, it's harder to digest. So we're going to talk about some things that maybe you haven't considered. It goes a little bit beyond nutrition. And so I hope that this is really helpful information. Now, here's the thing. As you have questions, whether you're catching this on Instagram, on YouTube, or on in the Facebook group, in Health Warriors with Autoimmunes, please ask questions because I can answer them as we go. I can either answer them in videos or I can answer them on a post and help you through that. So I'm happy to answer questions, and that's why I'm here. So that kind of sets up the parameters for the week. So we have 5 days where we're going to take a deeper dive into understanding our gut and how to help it be well. All right. Today, did you know that your gut is the other brain? I personally would argue that it's your primary brain, because that gut instinct kicks in before this brain can process it. We have something called an enteric nervous system that is tied specifically to your gut. So yes, you also have your autonomic nervous system, your parasympathetic nervous system, so your fight or flight, the nervous system that runs everything else. But the bonus is that your gut has its own nervous system called the enteric nervous system. Now, what does that mean? It means that even if you broke your back or severed your spinal cord in some way, your gut can still work. Our bodies are so amazingly designed. It's so just mind-blowing to me how amazing our bodies are designed. This is not random. Now, here's what else happens. So like I said, that little ping in the gut When you go, something feels off, and you know you need to trust it, or hey, go with that, and you know you need to trust it, it's been programmed in, partly because of that enteric nervous system. This is all done to keep us, our bodies are designed for survival. It's all done to keep us alive. It's crazy cool. Now, the other part is that our brain not only digests food, which is what we think is going wrong, right? When we have a dis-ease, we think that it's because of food, maybe, that something's going wrong. It's not just food. Our gut also digests information and emotions. Incredibly intelligent. And if you think about it, your intestines, your digestive system kind of looks like another brain. So a few things that can go haywire. When our gut microbiome is off, so let me backtrack a minute. A healthy body is in balance. It's that simple. It's either in balance, and when it's unhealthy, something is out of balance. That's ultimately what it boils down to. So dis-ease, if you make it D-I-S dash ease, that is the truest sense of the word. It means that there's something taking away the ease of our body. So it's a few things, possibly. It can be food that we're eating, or more likely non-food or food-like items, so heavily processed food. Sugar destroys your gut. It destroys the happy bacteria that's in your gut, that keeps it happy. And it feeds and fuels the bad bacteria in the gut. So that starts to take over. We're going to talk about that when we talk about leaky gut. We're going to go in depth on that one. But sugar, antibiotics, same thing. It destroys all the good bacteria and the bad bacteria. So we've got to restore that in order to help your body. That microbiome is made up of all these organisms. It's good bacteria, bad bacteria. Yeah, there's some fungus in there. There's probably some parasites in there. There's just all kinds of things. You are housing a whole ecosystem of things that are alive, not just your cells. And when we can manage that ecosystem well, we're healthy and we thrive. When the bad guys start to take over, the bad bacteria, the viruses, because they're all floating in your body, but when those things start to take over and your immune system has to handle that, it can become an overload. And that's when we start to have some problems. Now, what feeds the gunk? Like I said, sugar, processed food, or I call it non-food because it's not. The herbicides and pesticides that are on food, some GMOs. Gluten, possibly. The question is whether it's gluten or glyphosate. So there's a question there, and research is scientists are asking which one is it. Stress. Stress does more harm than anything, in my opinion, and from observing. It can wreak havoc on our bodies. Exercise even throws off the body. Now we need to move, we need to exercise, but it creates lactic acid. So a normal body will dump that lactic acid. A body with an autoimmune doesn't. And so we really have to be cognizant of that and cognizant of the type of exercise that we're doing. Crazy how it all goes back to our gut, isn't it? I have this little pop-up. It's driving me nuts. Sorry. So when we're dealing with our gut, we can be dealing with an awful lot of things, but some very simple things will bring it back into balance. eating whole food, organic as often as possible. So eat your fresh stuff. This time of year, it's easy to do, right? So easy with all the garden vegetables. So eat your fresh food. Manage your stress. So I do meditation daily, but there are other aspects of that that we have to understand. Cutting out things like coffee. Why is that? Or at least getting organic coffee. Coffee is one of the most heavily sprayed crops on the planet. And so it's really important to clean that up. If you enjoy your morning coffee, by all means, enjoy it, spend the money, and get organic. Your body will be so much happier for it. Don't do the Maxwell House, don't do the Folgers, don't do those. Do organic to help your gut. And if you need some suggestions on any of these, please ask, because I have plenty of suggestions. There are supplements that we need too. We need probiotics, probably enzymes, because as we age, those naturally decrease. And so we can assist our body, because enzymes are the things that break down food and allow our body to pick it up, get it to the cells so that we have energy. Now, if we're lacking enzymes, it's harder to do that. So adding some enzymes can be helpful. Fiber. So you can just do flaxseed, or you can do a true fiber, but flaxseed or chia seeds are a great go-to in terms of a natural one. Again, I have some suggestions that I can offer you. I use Yoli's Yes Shakes. You're going to hear about Yoli because I use their products, but I also use other things. I use aloe vera, and I use some other products from other companies. And so I'll share with you what it is that I do use, and that way that might help you. I need a drink. So again, what can we do? Eat well, eat whole food, supplement, get your sleep. If you don't get enough sleep, it's going to throw off your microbiome. Crazy. Move your body. Even though I did just make that comment about lactic acid, it keeps things moving. And it does strengthen and tone the digestive system. Manage your stress. So it's really back to basics. But in our go, go, go world, we lean on convenience. And this is where we have to have some serious conversations, because that convenience is not helping you. Our standard American diet and standard American lifestyle is killing us. Autoimmunes are going through the roof. Cancer is going through the roof. Diabetes is going through the roof. High blood pressure, heart disease, obesity. And that's not okay. Now, if you're saying, yeah, but it's genetic. In my case, a combination of nature and nurture, because my dad has Crohn's. And I personally think that Agent Orange is the contributor. So that's a whole nother thing. So again, if you're a Vietnam vet or tied to that, that could be something that went into your microbiome or went into your body as you were being formed in the womb. But these things are impacting us, and not in a good way. Back to dis-ease or imbalance. One of two things is happening. And I tend to think that it's both. we're malnourished and or overtoxic. So those are the things taking us out of balance. So what does that mean? So malnourished, we're either not getting enough nutrition or we're leaking it. We'll talk more about that on the day we talk about leaky gut. Now, when we're talking about toxicity, we're taking in 80,000 toxins a day. 80,000. It's on our food. I brought up some things before. Glyphosate, your coffee. It is. Good morning as the trains roll through. It is the chemicals that we're using in our house. And even if you're buying clean, they may not be. There's a lot that has to go with packaging and marketing of products anymore that isn't always what we think we're getting. It's in the air. We're breathing it. So I live in a rural community. Crops are getting sprayed. It's in our water. We're cooking with it. How many of you use aluminum foil? How many of you use deodorant that has aluminum in it? So it's in our products and it's in our cooking process. It might even be in your pans. And if you use not silicone, I'm blanking on the word, the non-stick pans that have the little things, that scrapes off into your food. So we're getting little metal particles in our bodies. So these are the things that create toxicity, a toxic overload, right? And then malnourishment is that our soil isn't as rich or as fertile. Our food is getting picked soon, unless you grow your own. We're not eating enough of the right things, and we're not supplementing enough. Now, when those two things happen, our body cannot work in balance. It just can't. Our gut has a lot to process when you think about it. It's got a big job. It's breaking down food, it's breaking down information, it's breaking down emotion. And any of that can cause distress or dis-ease in the gut from what we're putting in our body, what we're putting on our body, what we're around, what we're breathing in, what we're thinking, what we're feeling, what we're holding in. All of those things impact our gut health. Anyone mind blown right now? Now, today was the introduction of the other brain. What is the gut? How does it work? We're going to go a little bit deeper into some of these topics. So one day we're talking about leaky gut. One day we're going to talk about stress and how that relates to our gut and what we can do. It's not just the cause, but here's what you can actually do to help yourself. Because your doctor can't follow you around. Your lifestyle choices are ultimately on you. But I don't know about you. I didn't know. I truly did not know. So let me take you back a little bit to the beginning of my story. Probably, it was actually about high school, but throughout college, I was incredibly exhausted. Like I would just go through this. could hardly put one foot in front of the other. I just figured I was a stressed out college student. I was working, I was trying to make ends meet, I was studying. I was overachiever type of personality. Like whatever I did, I was going to do well. Um, Sometimes short on sleep, but my body has never done well. I couldn't do well on those late night studying sessions, so I didn't do that very often, except for finals. Really sluggish, weight fluctuations, dark circles, constipation. Those were my big things. Now, I had to wait until I got my first big girl job and got my own insurance because at that time, if I would have been diagnosed under my parents' insurance, and I would have had a pre existing condition and would have never been able to get my own insurance. So I had to wait. All right, I waited. 5 gastroenterologists later, finally, in almost 3 years, finally got a diagnosis. It was Crohn's, what my dad has. And my mom could have diagnosed me. Now, in the meantime, I'd met a naturopath through my chiropractor and started this whole, that took me on this whole different journey. So think, I'd been a fitness person in my college career. I'd studied it in my books, but what I learned was that what I'd learned here did not apply at all. This was to make a body a machine. It wasn't about health, it was about a look and performance. I had to learn health inside out. Not about building muscle, not about getting six-pack abs, not about looking a certain way, but I truly had to learn the basis of health. And when I started to study food, that's where I started, was with nutrition and food. Like, what am I putting into my body and how can I help this? When I started there, because I had to, because I was told no flour, no sugar. And my brain was going, I was doing low fat, no fat, because that's what everybody was doing. And I was an athlete, so I carb loaded. That's what we'd been taught. And my brain went through my daily, like, cereal, toast, sandwich, because I'd pack my lunch sometimes, pasta, ice cream, yogurt. Like, I had to really take a look at everything. And the low fat products, well, when they replace the fat, they increase the sugar. I didn't know this stuff. I was just following what I thought I was supposed to be doing. Now, I distinctly remember going into, like, starting to figure this out, starting to really pay attention, not just to the fat content, not just to the salt content on a label, but to look at the ingredients. And I'm sitting there going, oh gosh, what am I going to eat? Because I didn't think I liked cooking. I just wasn't confident in the kitchen. That's what it boiled down to. But I remember being in the grocery store and thinking, all right, soup. I can have soup. And that's going to be quick and easy. I can take that to work. I can heat it. We'll go. Sorry, I have a loose hair. But I was going through the soup aisle in the grocery store, pick up a can, read the ingredients, high fructose corn syrup. Put it on the shelf, grab another one, because I'm thinking, like, beef noodle, chicken noodle. I knew I couldn't have, or not beef noodle, like beef vegetable or chicken vegetable. I knew I couldn't have the noodles, but I'm like, okay, tomato, high fructose corn syrup. And I had this moment of going, what can I eat? And I could feel the tears coming up. So I just dropped my basket, ran out of the grocery store. It was raining. Perfect mood setter. It was raining, ran out to my car, and I just sat there and bawled as the rain came down on the windshield. I distinctly remember it. Distinctly remember it. And that's when I realized I have to do things completely differently. Now, gluten-free wasn't an option then. That was just starting. And so what I learned was that if I focused on my protein, focused on my vegetables, and ate fruit for my snacks, and then added some healthy fat, like real butter or olive oil or coconut oil, then I was good. It just took me a little while to figure out how to make it work. And I was really curious about, okay, how does food work? How does it heal my body? How is food is medicine? We've heard this. And so I took this big deep dive into that because I really truly wanted to help my gut. I wanted to repair my gut. And started to realize that we've been sold a big lie. We've been marketed looks and diets, and neither one is working, at least not long term. Not long term. When it comes to gut health, you have to be fully committed to your health. Fully. Non-negotiable. Your health is your job. Because we can't go back. It's not like you get to a certain place and then you can go back to what you were doing before. We can't. Now, once in a while, you can have some ice cream. Once in a while, you can have that dessert. Once in a while, you might be able to have that slice of pizza. But it cannot be a consistent thing. It just can't. The other thing that has to happen, and for me they happened simultaneously, because I became very curious about my body. And then I started to care about it. It wasn't just a machine. It wasn't just to get six-pack abs. It wasn't just to attract. It wasn't just to work. It was that this is my home. This body is my home. This is where my soul gets to live. And I want to help it feel really, really good. And I want to help it thrive. I care so much about this body that does so many things for me. I don't even have to ask it. I don't have to ask it to breathe. I don't have to ask my heart to beat. It already does these things. And so these two things started to go simultaneously for me. That may or may not work that way for you. But as I started to go, wow, it really turned into this act of, my health is an act of self-love. It is non-negotiable. My gut health impacts everything else. And as a steward of this body, as the keeper of this home, it is my job to do my best to keep that microbiome in balance, to keep my emotions moving so that they're not just stuck in my body. To take time to process and digest information so it doesn't just get stuck in my body, literally. This is my job. This is the gift that God gave me, is this body. And I might as well figure out how to like it and treat it well. Here's the thing. What we're being taught, the ways that we're being taught to take care of our body, it is not God's way. It isn't the way it was intended. It wasn't the way it was designed. So this week, we're going to talk about how to get closer to the way that taking care of our bodies, understanding our bodies, and taking care of them is meant to be, so that they can thrive and come back to balance. Now, this is not about getting off of medications, because some of us need them. Actually, most of us probably still need them. But by adopting a lifestyle, you may not have the side effects off of those medications. You may be able to curb that domino effect from the side effects of those, so that you don't have to be enslaved by the medical system. Now, life happens, so we probably will fluctuate and have some times of flare-ups. Have some flare-ups, have some remission, have some flare-ups, have some remission. But we want that to not be so extreme. We want it to be a little more here. Because there are things that are out of our control. There always will be. But as we create a lifestyle where we're taking care of our bodies, it becomes more sustainable. And that's the whole point, because we want to enjoy life. We do not want to lay on the couch for most of our life. That's not living. Been there. That is not living. That's depressing. We don't need to sit on the sidelines of life and just observe everybody else. We can fully participate. We have to take care of our gut. We have to learn to manage our energy. We have to learn how to say no. We have to make our health our job. So this week, that's what I'm going to teach you. Because your gut processes it all of it. And hopefully we give you some tweaks to give you some small wins. Now, the hard part with gut health is that it actually has to be a sustainable thing. It's going to be probably 2, maybe even 4 weeks before you really notice some differences. And so that's the tough thing. But if I can give you some aha moments and we can get you some small wins this week, those are going to be big victories. So again, in the group, in Health Warriors with Autoimmunes, all week long, every morning for the next 5 days, we're diving a little deeper into how to take care of your gut. Today was the foundation. But as we roll through the week, we're going to learn some other things. So I'm also going to have posts that have tips and a little more information about things that I highlighted. So a little more information on the toxicity, a little more information on enzymes, a little more information on what to have in your kitchen, what are the staples, and what to take out of your kitchen. And if there's something else that you're curious about, please, 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 by all means, ask. I will be happy to put it in there, because as much as I'm thinking and as much as I've planned, it's easy to forget things too, or to not even realize that that might be something that you would want to know. So help me help you. I'll be happy to. Now, last thing. If you're watching this and you know someone who needs to see this information, please invite them to join the group. This is going to be really, really important information this week, because this is about how to sustain your life so that you actually get to enjoy it and live it. It's about reducing pain. It's about learning to treat our bodies well. So if you know someone, please invite them to the group. The more the merrier. All right, today, your gut is the second brain. More to come throughout the week. So let's go take care of our bellies. Let's go create these happy bellies for a healthy life, or healthy bellies for a happy life. Have a great day, everyone. And I'll be on throughout the day.